everyone, welcome back to ONYX Pages. I hope that you are having a wonderful new year so far. I'm a firm believer in the fact that you can wish somebody Happy New Year as far into the new year as you want. If it's the first time that you're seeing them, you can say Happy New Year. Does it get a little bit awkward in July? It sure does, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. So Happy New Year. I hope that 2026 is starting out really well for you. I am going to be doing the Not A Booktube Newbie Tag. And I thought it would be a really nice way to reintroduce myself to a number of people who have joined the channel, joined the ONYX Pages community, either here or on Instagram or on other platforms. And it also will be a really nice way, I hope, to reconnect to the original style of booktube videos that I enjoyed when I started to watch booktube. So if you would like to see me answer the questions to the Not A Booktube Newbie Tag, please get something cozy and I'll see you in 2 seconds. Okay, so the Not A Booktube Newbie Tag was created by Shelby Masako, and I will include her in the description, and I'm also just going to start and follow the questions that she created many years ago when she created this tag. So thank you very much, Shelby, for creating this tag. Question number 1, how old is your channel? That is a very easy question to answer because I filmed my very first ONYX Pages video on our honeymoon in British Columbia in Stanley Park with I don't even know what you call those. You know those rods that you used to put, selfie stick. I filmed it with a selfie stick. I will probably link the first video here or somewhere so that you can watch it and cringe along with me. So it was in August or September actually, of 2017. Maybe that was harder than I thought it was going to be, but that is when I started my channel. So my channel is now about 9 years old. I have been on BookTube for about 9 years, which is really something to think about. Okay, question number 2, what are your favorite videos to make? This is a bit of it's a hybrid answer. So I really like videos where I am experiencing something new because I like sharing that part of the book experience with you. So I love doing unboxing videos. I really like doing hauls because they're very aspirational. They don't require a ton of preparation. I like lives as well for that reason. I can just be with you in community, interacting with you if it's possible to do so, and that feels really nice. So one of the reasons why I started the BookTube channel was to have a sense of connection. So those videos are the most entertaining for me to film. I also like videos where I am interacting with someone else. So I like conducting author interviews. I like buddy reading and doing videos about that. I like, for example, the Octavia E. Butler slow read. That was really cool because it was just like, again, a lot of interacting with people on the platform. So those are the videos that I like creating the most. That is not to say that I don't like any of the other videos. It just means that those are sort of my favorite and they're my go-tos sometimes when I feel like I want to feel more connected and not worried about like the drudgery that can be editing and all of the post-production stuff that we do on our channels. Question number 3, what is one piece of advice you would give to someone wanting to join BookTube? The first piece of advice I would give is do it. So start with anything. Start with your phone, start with your laptop, start with your iPad. You don't need to get a lot of equipment in order to film. I found that the more equipment I got, the harder it was to actually do the thing, because I had to set everything up. I got really perfectionistically engaged in making sure that, you know, my, like, all of my stuff was being used correctly. And like, even before starting this video, I'm actually using my vlogging camera to film this video, and I had to watch a YouTube video about the optimal, like, f-stops and apertures and all that kind of stuff. And I could have just put my phone on a tripod, put some light in my face, and put some colors on and get it done, you know? But I got really caught up in that. And so don't get too caught up in the tech of it all if that's going to distract you from the most important thing, which is getting your content out there. So do that. I think another piece of advice that I would give if you are interested in starting your booktube channel is to think about what you want to share. What is most essential to you in terms of your relationship with reading, and what do you want to share with the world about that? So if you enjoy, I remember watching some booktubers when I first started who were really into the literature, the mechanics, the anatomy of story. I remember there was this one booktuber, I think her channel was called A Lovely Jaunt, and I feel like she was like an English lit major. And the way she talked about books and stories was so different from the way I do, but I just loved being able to watch her in her element. There were others who like to fan person about their books. They just want to get all up in the feels. And I love watching them do that. Some like to really niche down into their genre of choice, and I really like watching them niche down. So I think it's really important to figure out what you want to do and just do that, because the minute you start to try to imitate other people, I think that's when you sort of lose a little bit of your booktube soul, because then you're chasing the algorithm, and you're chasing subscribers and followers, and it feels tedious, and then you burn out. And that's really hard. So when it comes to creating a booktube channel, I think it's really important to think about why you're doing it in the first place and what can sustain you even if no one's watching. We should probably talk more about that later. Okay. Since joining, have you run into any unforeseen challenges? Now is later. So, yes, I have run into a bunch of challenges, to be honest. I'll just list them. There are many. So I'm filming this video after 2 or 3 years, maybe even 4 years of inconsistent posting. And part of that is because I'm a grown woman with grown woman responsibilities that sometimes take over and make it really difficult to stick onto a schedule, right? And so I didn't realize how hard it could sometimes be to get back into a recording sort of rhythm after leaving it for some time. And so that was a challenge that was unforeseen. I knew that there would be ebbs and flows in my ability to create content, but I didn't realize like how difficult it could be to really carve out space to do booktube. And I love filming videos. I get a lot of joy out of it. And I remember when I was filming videos more frequently and doing all of the different booktube things that I was doing, I was just intoxicated by the opportunity to connect with all of you. And so I miss it when I don't do it, but it can be really hard to stay on top and to stay in rhythm. So those were unforeseen challenges. I think the other, I was able to avoid to a certain extent, um, getting like reading books or collecting books I really had no interest in reading. It's kind of easier for me, I'll be honest, because this channel is dedicated to Black speculative fiction. I don't find myself in situations where I'm just like hungrily buying things that I have no interest in reading, right? I don't get a lot of, actually, that's not true. I do get a lot of inquiries from indie authors to read their work. Um, and I do get publishers who are very familiar. Like I get the garbage, like AI generated requests and stuff, but I do have some publishers and some folks who know my work and who reach out to me and say, "Hey, Angie, are you interested in this?" It's like directly in your lane, and I like that. Um, I think that if I was more of a generalist when it comes to reading books and creating content, it would be a lot harder for me to say no to um, opportunities to partner with publishers or book companies or whatever to create content. So, um, but from time to time, I do get requests and I do accept books, and then I don't get to them, and I feel sad about that. So that can definitely be challenging. I am not even answering the question. Yes, I am. Since joining, have you run into any unforeseen challenges? Let me see. What other unforeseen challenges? Besides like keeping up with a rhythm, besides feeling like as a niche channel, well, being a niche channel can sometimes be a challenge as well. Um, I know, like, you know, not everyone is interested in books written by Black authors. And so I feel like sometimes if my channel was more racially broad, perhaps there would be more interest in the channel. Um, I recognize that. It doesn't bother me, and it has never created the temptation to broaden my channel beyond Black authors, but it is something I've just had to appreciate. Um, yeah, I think all the other challenges were foreseeable. um, Question number 5. What is a favorite book or series you read because of BookTube? Okay, so on the point of being a niche channel, uh, there are very few other Black speculative channels out there. So most of the books I've read because people I know in the Black speculative arts, Black speculative writing, Afrofuturist writing space suggest things to me. So I have this one friend. His name is LP Kindred. He is a writer and he's brilliant and lovely and kind, and I could go on about him. He's just a lovely human being and so smart, so talented. Um, and he's like a great source of books for me. I can just WhatsApp him and just say, what do I need to be reading? And who do I need to be reading? And he will suggest people, and there's always going to be someone new. And I love that about him and about people like him who are really interested in the evolution of this space and who are willing to share their knowledge with me. But in terms of BookTube, I'm trying to think like my source. So my source, my other booktubers who I look to Brittany at Read with Melanin for Black fantasy recommendations. Um, when Musical Tati was posting content, I would look to her for literary speculative work. She reads more broadly than that, but I find that the work Like she reads Tananarive Due, for example. She reads like speculative and sci-fi and fantasy in middle grade and all of that. So I would look to her for titles I didn't know. So like I think it was her channel that taught me about Gloria Naylor's Mama Day, I think, or maybe that was Comfy Cozy Up, or maybe that was Brown Girl Reading. But what book would I say I read specifically because of BookTube? It was probably very, very early on, and it was probably I think I may have heard of Akwaeke Emezi's Freshwater. It might have been Thomas at SFF 180, who's also a tremendous source of Black speculative reads. I mean, he's not a Black speculative like exclusive reader, but his anticipated horror, fantasy, and science fiction lists have been sources for me because he will have, authors from across different identities that he talks about. That's kind of hard. Yeah. Okay. One author who I learned about, not because of BookTube, but sort of by extension, was Eugen Bacon, who is an incredible writer. And I learned about her because I was participating in the FIACon conference, which was online. And she was one of the speakers, and I listened to her speak, and then I read her book. And so that's sort of BookTube by extension. Okay, overall, what is your favorite aspect about BookTube? My favorite aspect about BookTube is connecting with people and being able to read with other people, being able to interact in the comments, to comment on the videos that other people in my community have put together. I think, and then to be able to see people in real life and connect with them that way. So I went to BookNet Fest twice, and those were great experiences to connect with other booktubers. I've been to WizCon, which is a feminist science fiction convention. I went either twice or thrice in Madison, Wisconsin, and I've gone to other book conventions and conferences online and in real life in person, and being able to meet people in the flesh and then know that I've watched them and that they've influenced my reading and I've influenced theirs, that part of that community is really important. It's unfortunate that a lot of the booktubers who were creating content who I would watch when I was just starting out are not creating content anymore, or who have changed their content and have fallen out of like my particular interest. That's sad, but I mean, that is the times that we're in, and people change, and that's totally okay. And 7, want to spread the BookTube love? Yes, great. Give at least one newbie a shout out. Oh, shoot. So I guess I should have prepared for this. I don't know who to shout out in terms of a BookTube newbie. And the reason is I don't know who's still a newbie. But there is this one person, and I will probably try, I'll have to try and find her, so it's not going to be in the description right away. But I like watching her videos because she has these very slice of life monologue intros to her books and to her reads, and I just like listening to her talk about what she's about to talk about. Like, it doesn't feel like filler. It's just sweet. So I like watching her stuff. But anyway, I will put a list at some point of BookTube newbies whose videos I enjoy. Okay, so who do I tag? Now this is going to be fun. I am going to tag my girl Brittany from Read with Melanin and a bunch of other melanin. She's got a suite of channels, so her. Who else am I gonna shout out? Tomi's here. Tomi is
here.
always here.
There's so many things that you said that I want to, say a
Oh,
little thing. No, I think it's great. I'm happy to see you back and do your thing.
thank you.
Have you shouted out?
I'm shouting out. So the question is, other booktubers I want to shout out.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so there are a couple of booktubers I would like to shout out. So the one booktuber who, I wonder if you can guess who this is. The one booktuber who is literally responsible for me feeling like I could do this. I was reading, it must have been the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, and I went online. Do you know the story? I went online to look for somebody who, to just like see if somebody had ever posted a video about this book. And I watched this person's video and I was like, what is this? This person is brilliant. I love the way they talk about books and they're just so poetic. And I was like, what is this world? And that's how I learned about BookTube, and that's what got me really excited. Do you know who it was?
You have to give it a little bit more.
In the title is the word pages.
I think so. But tell everybody else.
It's it's Adri at Perpetual Pages.
Ah, yes.
Yes. So Adri was the first BookTube video I ever watched. So anyway, my camera's blinking at me. So I'm gonna tag Adri. I'm also gonna tag Books Are My Social Life, because Sajid is also somebody I've met in real life and spent some time with when I was in Trinidad, and got me a book, and we are like slowly building friendship, and that's really sweet. So I'm gonna tag Sajid. And who else am I gonna tag? I'm gonna tag. He's never gonna do it, but I'm gonna tag Thomas at SFF 180 because I really appreciate how consistent he has been with his content. He's somebody I can connect with offline about just random things here and there, and I really appreciate the reading sprints that he did all last year. It was really nice to be able to just be in community even though I wasn't posting. I'm going to tag Shane at Luxurious Blue, who's my cousin, and not in real life, but he is my Trini cousin in New York who's reading and who's lovely. Troy Towell as well, so I'll tag Troy. Every time he shows up with a video, I'm just like, oh my gosh, you were also one of the people who really inspired me, and you're just a sweet person. And I think, let's see, who else will I tag? Is there anyone else? There are probably more people, so you'll be tagged in the description. Please do this tag, and I'd love to see your answers. So I think that's it for all of the questions. That's it. So I'd like to thank Shelby Masako for creating the Not A Booktube Newbie Tag. I hope that you enjoyed this opportunity to sort of reflect with me about ONYX pages, about my time on BookTube so far. And yeah, if you'd like to ask me any further questions, please feel free to do so in the comments. And if you've watched this video all the way to the end, obviously I am wearing a t-shirt that has Harriet Tubman with a crown on, so please, a crown emoji would be really great, and something yellow. Okay, so always remember to read with purpose. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video in the series. Bye.